Hello, everyone. My name is Robert Christensen, here to do some more sharing on specific topics and focal points that are happening in and around the world right now. So, part of my own personal experience has led me to share a new awareness around potential realities that are taking place, especially those who are moving through what is considered to be ascension symptoms. And then, many others that aren't just, believe themselves to be going through ascension symptoms, but are having physical, mental, and psychological breakdowns. I mean, of very intense proportions, like literally breaking down, and I'm seeing this happen, and it's just, making me a bit sad in the heart because I believe I know why this is happening to many others. One, I've identified it within myself now that it's been happening for 6 years that I am, literally aware of, and I can't say how often that was happening prior to that. 6 years that I feel very confident in my experience to be able to share that. And literally where I felt like my whole body was just being completely dismantled, pulled apart, reconstructed, the worst type of physical ailments, conditions that have just made me feel so out of it, just completely out of it. And that's why I wanted to share today and cover, just some of those symptoms, and to invite you to question that. And, is that, what you believe it to be? And I'm going to give you some alternative viewpoints for you to explore more and to see if perhaps that may be what it is or is not, being experienced or expressed. So this has been tremendous, since I openly shared my experience to the general public and put it out on a YouTube video. In just a couple weeks, I've had over 30 people now come to me and tell me they are having either a similar experience, or they've had similar experiences that now they're ready to question their reality and they want to know more. So this is very important, and why I'm sharing more of this with you. If you are going through any type of experience where you're having migraines, your body is, shutting down, you feeling like your adrenals are completely fatigued and, just damaged. If you feel your nervous system is completely shot, it's always feeling like it's being attacked, or that it's, just unsettled. If you feel that your spine is out of alignment, in different ways, if you're feeling particular migraine headaches, like sometimes maybe that your brain is just like pulsing and pumping with energy, or pounding with energy, and you can't get any kind of relief. Or maybe you're having neck and shoulder pain back here, you're feeling a lot of tension, like you can't really release that. Maybe you're feeling it in your joints, anywhere in your bones or your muscles, where it's so intense you can't even walk or get out of bed. Maybe you're noticing some of your organs or your different limbs or different, fingers, toes are swollen. Maybe even your face, you're noticing complete inflamed tissues that, and there's no reasons for all this happening. And if you're having different infections, viruses, I'm talking some very, very intense stuff that's happening out there, that's sending you to the hospital, but you're getting tests back and you're not still getting any answers. Well, that's why I'm making this video for you today to consider. If you have run across all these things, you'll start finding a lot of the common things. Ringing in the ears, also a big, big, big one. That mechanical, non-organic ringing in the ears that they say is tinnitus. Like, this is something that is just part of a human condition, and there's no red flag that there's some weird sound in people's ears, and we're not wanting to question that, except for just make a diagnosis. That's what this is. Give them some medication, make them numb, and pat them on the butt. So have a good day. But no, we want to question all these things, because all all of these symptoms that I'm expressing become common in all these other different areas, which I'm going to share towards the end of this, and which, says, whoa, this is a little bit creepy, a little bit eerie, but when you look at what is underneath all of these physical, mental, emotional, psychological conditions, you find the common characteristics, the origin or the source, the culprit of these things. And someone who helped me to move into this perspective was a recent book that I would come across, and it's called The Medical Medium by Anthony Williams. Absolutely beautiful. And I just invite you to read the whole thing through. Even if you think some of the stuff don't apply to you, I assure you, you will gain benefit by reading the full book front to back. And when I got to his part, when he shares about these particular conditions that, that almost everybody has, it made perfect sense. And then he's like, it's this virus, and this virus can sit within your body for 10 years before it actually comes out and attacks. And it's like, whoa, that's very, very intelligent. And for, now that I'm thinking, how could something like that survive and go undetected? And he says that the body can't even detect it because it moves from organs to organ. And I thought, wow, this is something very serious that I never considered, but it makes more sense because I went on a deep healing crusade, I'll call it that, in 2017, which I shared a video, and that's how I come into the awareness that I'm a targeted individual and been subject to a lot of other things like that. So it was very interesting how all this showed up in my reality. But yes, all these physical conditions and things that just did not ever sit, and so struggling, just like you are probably relating to and currently going through, we go to the doctor, and I generally refuse Western medicine, but I, was so broken down that I actually went and spent a month trying to determine what was actually wrong. And the doctor was ready to do cartwheels because he felt that he got it right, but I don't think that's so, because it didn't actually heal in the way that we had all hoped and had went through the program, and all the different medicines, modalities, approaches. So here I am getting back to understanding the nature of this and questioning all those things, that I overlooked for years of my physical breaking down. And, because my masculine will is so strong, I never addressed that something was actually wrong, or that I should have been, focusing, that my body's off, my mind is off, my psyche's off, whatever that is. I just pushed through it and would meditate it and just rebalance my energy centers, which was basically suppressing whatever that experience was that was trying to share it with my consciousness, which I feel is the body really communicating to me, even though we're one and the same, but we're still so disconnected at times, and that's why the body does what it does. It says, here is a sign we need you to see. Consciousness, the one that's partially directing the body, to listen and identify that something's not right, so we can make, take a new course of action to bring about a better human experience and whatnot. So, but with that being, the case, all these symptoms are super intense, whatever it is that you're experiencing, maybe a state of depression, also isolation. They run one and the same. Have you noticed that part of your ascension has put you out of society, far reserved from your social circles? And you may, justify this because you're living in a higher dimensional reality and you no longer associate with that particular frequency. And I would again, invite you to say, is that maybe an ulterior motive for some faction of energy that wants you to stay in a more disconnected state, a more, isolated state? So one, when you're easier to judge yourself, condemn yourself, and easier to induce a state of depression. So this is a very common characteristic, and you probably already know this because you've been going through it. The state of isolation and depression, and just that you no longer resonate with the greater world at hand because some things are terribly wrong. And so I understand you retreating and taking refuge in your own energy field, but also I see that as being influenced to do that. I don't know that anybody's made a really true conscious decision because there's so many other factors that influence the consciousness to believe certain realities, and anything that pushes us outside of community and group unity consciousness, I feel is, an expression from dark forces or energies, without getting, too deep in that, but just speaking what's true for me. I feel that is super important, and any of this, because it's always sharing my viewpoint. I don't want to impose, more beliefs, but just to share, what I've reduced my own experience to through my own observations and direct sensory experience. And of course, what others are sharing in relation and in complement to that. But yeah, so we're talking a lot of physical symptoms that you may be having, psychological, mental. This is affecting your family environment. This is affecting your work environment. This is affecting your health endeavors, being following a diet or exercise regimen or meditation regimen, whatever it is that these things have now pushed you out of because of your health. And so you're not able to yet find any answers, or it's all being questioned, and this is, I'm part of a group. It's called Ascension Symptoms. What are you feeling today? It's on Facebook. There's like 20,000 people in there. And this is a common thing where people are just feeling the worst of the worst and are generally believing it to be ascension symptoms because it's the only thing that says, what this could be, because science and mainstream reality is not able to identify these experiences. And so then we've got this, ascension program saying that we're supposed to be experiencing discomfort, pain, suffering because we're releasing ourselves from the old bondage, from the old paradigm and all of our old shadows and things of this nature, so that we just simply accept that, yeah, we're supposed to have all this problems. This is why we're having it. And then, it turns into a celebration, literally an acceptance and allowance of discomfort, of disconnection and energetic misalignment. Ultimately, that's exactly what all this is. And if an ascension program is coming from the divine, of a place that's absolutely pure and organic, then to me, it does not make sense that it would be going through so much discomfort and, so much challenge. And me now being aware of this program, this process for 6 years, I am able to think for myself based on, current or specific events, recent events that have come up in my life that allowed me to come to this new realization. So, and that's what I want to present that to all of you today, that this may be actually happening with you as well, and why you're having these experiences. So I want you to consider now what you may be going through to be energy directed weaponry, things that can send a EMF frequency, a ELF frequency, a microwave frequency into your field. This can disrupt any one of your body systems, your entire neurological network, and the way that your brain functions and connects with your nervous system and all of your other body systems, and especially your energy centers. And consider that there is the technology that can actually direct voice technology into your field. And not only that, can actually send your own voice, recorded voice, so it has your energy signature to it, and you believe that you're having certain thoughts. So I bet you may already recognize this, that you've had a lot of thoughts that didn't feel like they're yours, and why would you ever think that? Especially the suicide ones. I think that's always a clear sign that none of us would ever want to commit suicide in our balanced state of existence. And so imbalanced because of potential influences then makes it easier to accept a broadcast of audio voiceover, especially if it's your own, and that you then judge yourself, beat yourself up, condemn yourself, and completely forsake yourself, and that you are not good genetic stock, that you were born bad, that your life has been horrible and you'll never make it out of it. Well, I don't believe that. I don't think you should believe that either. I want you to consider the fact that there's technology out there that can disrupt a person's entire system. This technology was used in what they call Operation Paperclip, with the Hitler and things of that nature. Also used in the CIA through what is called the MK Ultra, the Monarch, the MILAB, Super Soldier Program. There's a lot of different terminologies out there that this technology has been expressed in. There's a lot of patents for this type of technology, and there's a lot of information now. Myself, what I've learned, there's a phrase out there called targeted individuals. Those of us that are experiencing these direct energy directed weapons and broadcasts and transmissions are coming in. So I'm asking you to consider that this may be what you're experiencing. Now, given that we think about, especially those in the Ascension groups, this weird ringing, and when you go really deep into it, you say, wow, it's like I'm sitting in some type of metal chamber or some type of, weird environment. And that's not organic. I can assure you nothing about that sound feels organic. And if you want to know what organic sound feels like, to know if that's something you should accept to be part of your Ascension program, then I'd say go out in nature and just sit in the complete stillness and notice there is no mechanical sound like that one if you're getting it in your ear. So I would be questioning, that, and it's just, some friendly recommendation, and this is why I'm sharing this other potential stuff. If you look up everything about a targeted individual, you may understand why it looks like your life is falling apart, why you're experiencing a nervous breakdown, why you're going through such energetic disconnection and chronic fatigue. Or symptom after symptom of physical, mental health that you cannot find a cure for, that you keep battling over and over again. Well, I, invite you to look up these terms, the symptoms of those terms, which is very interesting. When you do that, that's where I started putting a lot of the pieces together, that the symptoms for Epstein-Barr virus are the same as the symptoms for MK Ultra, which is the same symptoms for chronic fatigue, which is the same symptoms for Lyme's disease, which is the same symptoms for autism, which is the same symptoms for black mold infection, which is the same symptoms for mind control, which is the same symptoms for cancer. I mean, which is the same symptoms for ascension. So it gets a little bit creepy when you start looking at all that, and like I said, the Medical Medium book, when he talks about this one particular virus that is kind of like the core of everybody's conditions, it made me understand that, yeah, this is it. Every one of us are experiencing this, that are having this awareness around it, or really going through just turmoil or a living hell. That concept of what hell is that, the world is beating you up, attacking you, breaking you down. And I'm asking you to consider that you may also be a targeted individual and are receiving energy-directed weapons and broadcasts that are breaking you down, that you may have alien technology in your body as well as etheric implanted technology in your energetic field. So these are a very, very deceptive program and practice, and I believe it's put out there to make us all feel that we're evolving. But I believe it to be a introduction to humanism, transhumanism. Sorry, not humanism. Well, transhumanism, which is the introduction of technology for bettering the human experience and condition. So there's a lot of us that believe this is a implementing of, you know, alien technology actually into our bodies, a Borg type artificial intelligence application. So there's a lot of evidence out there to suggest this and to support this type of perspective, because it's very sci-fi and it's some weird, creepy stuff, but I can't go around it anymore. I just want to speak into it and say, consider it, because if you're not getting any other answers, then maybe this is something that will give you that peace of mind and give you the opportunity to actually address and identify what is your condition, why is it happening, and you know, if you can go back for however many years that you've felt that you've just been defeated, and this may be why. So look into it. I care for you. I care for our world, our reality, and for all sentient beings. That is why I'm sharing this. That's why I'm doing all these video series. If you're curious about going down this rabbit hole, please be mindful. There is a lot of fear. There's a lot of misdirected information out there that will throw you for a major loop. You may find a lot of people that are sharing videos, sharing parts of their story that will seem completely schizophrenic, insane, psychologically imbalanced, whatever. And one, this may be because they've been attacked so much, and now that they actually have a deeper awareness. Two, they may have been placed there strategically to throw people off that, whoa, that's not me, I can't get into this reality. And they may have been put there just so you say, whoa, I can't entertain this, and then instantly turn away and never consider this to be an option. So, you know, and then you'll have a lot of stuff out there that just wants to lead you into new avenues of misinformation and to create new belief systems. But basically it's a smoke and mirror, and to detour you from this focus and this level of consciousness, and that it may be happening to you. So just, you know, look into, you know, before you get into any video stuff, just maybe look up some of the information. You know, what is a targeted individual? What is gang stalking? What is mind control? What is MK Ultra? If you start looking up some of those things, and you look at the technologies that are available, some that have actually even made it through the patent office that they've shared, and when you start looking at those things, you say, okay, now I can grasp this a little bit more. And then you get a little bit more strength and courage to go down the rabbit hole, because it's very scary. It's something that's so far-fetched that there is a part of our consciousness that doesn't really want to accept that. A denial instantly comes in. And this is for a very specific purpose. The powers that be have designed it this way so that we would not come into an awakening state, and that we would not question our reality, that we would just simply and blindly accept it as a fact. So by learning how to research this particular topic or this type of information, and, you know, I'm not saying that, you know, there's an art to it, but there is a way to understand it and be discerning, and to not get swallowed by the disinformation and, you know, just the antics that are out there from these dark agents to detour you. But I assure you, you will find the answers you were looking for initially, you know, which is so you then have a foundation to build from. But until that, I know what it's like to be completely lost in the dark, trying to figure out why you're having all these experiences time after time after time after time after time again, you know. And I kept thinking I was going through a dark night of the soul, and after so many times, it's like it's impossible that a person could go through the dark night of the soul based on the information that's out there of what the dark night of the soul experience is. But that's when I started saying, hey, there's something foul going on here. And, you know, I was able to uncover a lot of what has been happening to me for years. And so I believe that is happening with you as well. And that's why I'm sharing this video, so that you can question your reality and see if any of this relates to you and what it is that you're going through. So I wish you all the very best. Please feel free to reach out anytime. I'll do my best to leave some links out there to explore, but ultimately I'd rather you just take some of this information and find your own journey. So I don't want to feel like I'm imposing more beliefs on you or more perspective. I just want to encourage you to question things about your reality and to look into specific topics for just a greater perspective about life, so you can then make a greater educated decision about who it is you are and what it is that you are experiencing, and how you would like to approach the solution part of that reality. So thank you all for allowing me to share this video and just go in a little bit about this particular perspective. I wish you all the very best, and take care. Have a beautiful day.